Today is a day to celebrate Red's career and announce his pending retirement. And I emphasize, for me and for us, this as a celebration of a great career. Before I say a few words about Red, I want to start by thanking Joy Berenson, who's sitting back there, for all her years of not only supporting Red, but supporting hundreds of young men in this program. She's been the First Lady of Michigan hockey for over 33 years. Please give her a round of applause. I want to acknowledge Red's former players who are here, current team members, and those who are watching, either streamed on live on BTN, for their contribution to this program and to Red's success. As he often talks about, he couldn't have been the coach that he was without you gentlemen and your family and the commitment you made to Michigan. On behalf of the board and President Slissel, I want to first and foremost thank Red for his lifelong commitment to Michigan. Over almost 60 years of commitment to this university and 33 years as head coach. So please give him a round of applause for that. He's looking at me funny because he told me to be short. And I'm going to try it, but I also want to make sure people understand 33 years as a head coach, 2 national titles, 21 conference championships, winning this coach in our program history, record 22 consecutive NCAA appearances, 11 Frozen Fours in his career. And here was the quote when Don Canham introduced Red as the coach. He said, "I'd like to improve the image of Michigan hockey team on campus and with the alumni. I think that now people will be thinking more highly about the program. Red, I think you've accomplished that and so much more. Please welcome to the podium Red Berenson."
Thank you. I want to thank everyone for coming. This isn't a wake. When I told Ward when I first came here, and Don Canham had recruited me, it was the 3rd time he had asked me to come back to coach Michigan. The first time I was still playing for Detroit, and the second time I was coaching in St. Louis, and the 3rd time I was an assistant coach for Scotty Bowman in Buffalo. And it seemed that like it was the right time. And so I made the move. And I told him I left a job making $85,000 to take a job for $40,000. And I thought, did I get my MBA at Michigan to make a decision like this? But it was the right thing to do. And I loved Michigan. I loved the experience I had. And I thanked Al Renfrew and Don Canham and Don Lund and all the staff that recruited me to come back. And then Canham said, when we had a press conference like this announcing the new coach, Canham said, well, you're 44. You don't want to be coaching when you're 55. And I guess I didn't listen. But nevertheless, I feel like it's the right time. And although my wife is not sure yet, when I left the house this morning, she said, "Are you sure you're doing the right thing?" And I didn't remind her, but I remember the day we got married, 56 or so odd years ago. And I was walking in the church, and one of my best friends who was in the wedding said, "Are you sure you want to do this?" And so I was sure. I didn't like getting married, but I wanted to be married. I don't like the fact that we're going through this, but I want to be retired, and I want to get out of the way for the next coach to take this program to a high level. I've been so lucky to be here. Like Ward gave you some pretty good statistics. I don't think we did as well as we should have. With the players we had and the teams we've had, now I can blame the referees. I can blame, we had a lot of situations that we didn't like that ended our season. And we had a couple of good ones that ended it the right way. But I thought we could have done better. And I still think we can do better. And that's kind of what keeps me going. Rob Palmer's here. Rob was one of our grad assistants in the early days when we tried to figure out how to play better defense. And Rob had been a pro defenseman and came back and got his MBA. I see Sue Shan is here, and she's helped a lot of our players in school. And I've had a great list of coaches and staff. And Ian Hume has been here forever, and good for him. And Ian, I value our friendship, and I know you'll do a good job in the upcoming years. So, we've got a list of them. I remember my first athletic director was Don Canham, and then he left, and in came Bo Schembechler for a short time. And Bo took the job because he didn't want anyone else to have it. And it was good for him. And he made that big change in the basketball Final Four, if you remember, when he found out that Bill Frieder was going to take a job with Arizona State. And so he changed basketball coaches right in the middle of the Final Four and put Steve Fisher in, and we won it all. Great memory from Bo. And then it was on to the next athletic director. We had Joe Roberson. We had Tom Goss. And who else did we have after that? We had Bill Martin and Dave Brandon and Jim Hackett for a short time. And now we have Warde Manuel. Ward used to be our administrator for hockey, so he knows the hockey drill, and he knows the expectations that we've had. And so, Ward, you'll keep a thumb on the hockey program, I hope. And I'll be right behind you. I'm not leaving the area, and I'll be at your will if there's anything that you need done in the department. I love Michigan. I love this program. It's been at least half of my life. And when I consider playing here, coming back to grad school, of course, going to school here, and then my annual visits to see my old coach, Al Renfrew. Speaking of that, the first two calls I got this afternoon, I don't know how people find out so quick, but as soon as that went on the wire, Brendan Morrison calls from Calgary. And Brendan's one of my favorite people, one of my favorite players, and he did it all. He did it right, and so on. But he just reminded me of the good years and the good days and so on. And so it was good to hear from him. And then the next call was from Mike Babcock. And Mike reminded me that he's coaching Toronto, if you don't know Mike. But Mike said, well, I was hoping you'd last a few more years because Michigan has been my dream job. So I'm not sure how to take that, but nevertheless, we've had a lot of friends, and we're going to hear from a lot of them, and it's been a lot of memories. But again, I was blessed to come to Michigan, like you guys have made the choice to come to Michigan, and it changed my life. And that's been my, I would say, my motivation to help these young guys, help it change their lives and live their dreams. I've always felt strong about there's life after hockey. And even when we were in the Stanley Cup and we won the Stanley Cup and we were in the parade, 2 days later I was in grad school in the B school, and it was the best day of my life. That day, not the day that we won the game, not the day that we were in the parade, but the day I was in class. And I knew I could take care of myself. There were only 6 teams. It was a cutthroat business, not that it isn't now, and there was no money in it. So at that time, I felt I was doing the right thing coming back to grad school. I was the only player in the NHL with a college degree. Everybody thought I was goofy, and I must be some kind of a nerd. And then I had my MBA as well. So I was preparing for life after hockey. So I guess now life after hockey will officially start. So, and I'm okay with that. So it's been good. It's been good. And I still feel invested in this year's team. And many of them are sitting here, and they know why. because I want them to do better and I want them to flourish and get the feeling what it's like at Michigan when you're on a roll and people say to you, even after you graduate, you played for Michigan, University of Michigan, and that's a good feeling. And they say, wow, and they see that ring and they look at you and like you're somebody special and you know you've done the right thing. There's so many good things about this opportunity and this job, and obviously it wasn't for the money. We've been able to touch a lot of people, and a lot of people have touched us. So it's, I could go on and on about what it's like and how I feel now. I feel good. I don't feel relieved. I still feel I've got my thumb on the program. I'm concerned about today, tomorrow, and the next day. But there's going to be a time in the near future when Warde will announce a new head coach at Michigan, and he'll have my support. So on that note, I will take any comments or questions. Well, I can tell you it started some time ago. Like the last few years, I've been questioned about, you know, how long are you going to coach or when are you going to retire? And particularly on the recruiting trail. And it bothered me that, you know, this was an issue. And at one time with Bill Martin, I signed a 3-year contract, and then it came up again under Dave Brandon. And it wasn't the athletic director asking me; it was the people along the recruiting trail. And I feel that it's come to the point now where, as Warde said, you know, you should sign a long-term contract. And I don't know if that's the best interest of this program. And I feel it's not. And it really put it in perspective. And I think we're doing the right thing. But I talked to Warde about this last year after we had a pretty good year and lost to North Dakota in the regionals. And Warde hadn't even moved here yet. He was just been named the athletic director, and we agreed that I should come back for another year and have a good year. And you know, he thinks I'm still 45, but nevertheless, I've had great support from our coaches. Billy Powers isn't here. He's on his way back from vacation. Wise has been terrific. He's helped jumpstart this program. Steve Shields has done a terrific job. He's just about moved into Yost. You talk about a coach spending time caring about what he's doing. And so we've had a great staff. And I know we'll continue to have a great staff. But I think it's time I get out of the way. I met with Warde a couple of times last week, and we decided this is the right time and it's the right thing to do. I wanted to wait till the NCAA tournament was over, and here we are. Well, I like the fact that, you know, these players that leave, and here's Timmy Helber's in the audience, and he's going to be a grandpa pretty soon. I don't know when, but it won't be that long. And we got Will Lockwood here, and I coached his dad. A couple of players that were in the Frozen Four were sons of players that I coached at Michigan. So it's a bit of the family. I want this to be a big family. I want the players to feel like this is family. And even the guys I came to school with in the late 50s, we're still best of friends, and we stay in touch. So it's, I think it's a big Michigan family, and we tried to establish that. One of my first problems coming back was to get the alumni back on board with, they went to Michigan. Let's not forget about Michigan. And they're back, and I feel good about that. Well, I'll play a distant role. I think I'll have Warde is going to use me as an advisor. I'll be one of several, I'm sure. I hope there's some Michigan awareness or Michigan connection for a coach that will feel the right way about what a Michigan man should be like and what a Michigan team should be like. And we've got some of those coaches here today, and we've got some great alumni here today. And I'm sure Warde will make the right decision. It might be an easy decision. It might not be. We're going to get a lot of people interested.
Before there are any questions, let me also highlight one thing that Red started many years ago, and that is to endow the hockey program. We are less, it was a goal set 20 years ago, maybe? Yep. 25 years ago, to endow the whole program with $20 million. We're a little bit less than $1 million short of that goal. He has committed, in my opinion, it showcases his commitment to this program long term at a time when fundraising and initiatives were just beginning, for him to think about this program for a longer term. As he said, he thought he would be stepping aside at 55, and he's standing here today. And the reason I think he's 45 is because he's in much better shape than I am. And I'm much younger than he is. So I think I have a workout partner now who will push me probably more than I want to get it done. But he's just had a strong commitment to that. I look forward to him reaching that goal as a part of him continuing as advisor to me. And he was right on. I can't ask for a better advisor about who would be great to bring in here as the next coach than Red Berenson. So I look forward to him sharing his advice and thoughts as we go along in the process. And I see some of my other head coaches here. I hope you're not here to take tips on retirement. None of you are allowed to retire. We will not be having one of these for any of you in the audience. All right, any other? Yeah, I need it in writing from all y'all. Any other questions? You know, I said that one of the beginning press conferences or media interactions, Red, Wally Renfro, Wally Grant, Al Renfro, and their wives, Mickey, I see you back there, and Joy, taught me about this game, but also taught me at a time where I was young. Red took me aside in his office to teach me about what he thought was a good sports administrator. Lloyd also did the same, and so in coming back and working with Red and having the conversation with him last year, part of it was selfish on my part to say, you know, it's really my opinion, and I'll stand by it, was that it wasn't time, you know, for Red. But also I can't continue to be selfish in the thinking about Michigan, and really had great conversations with Red about where he felt we needed to be. And so it's a lot of appreciation for Red and for hockey. You know, he told me at one point, I'll tell the story, he looked at me and he said, no administrator of hockey, every administrator of hockey has to learn how to skate or know how to skate. So literally the next day, I was with Ian, put on some skates, hung around the whole board, skated around, got off, took the skates off, went up to his office and said, I skated on the ice. And then he accepted me at that point. So he means the world to me, and he means the world to this place. You don't use terms like legendary lightly, but he is a legend in Michigan. If you walk into my office, the staff, Larry and Rob, did a great job of a montage of coaches and people on my wall. And over his picture, the word legend is above his picture. And the reality is, you don't use it lightly, but he deserves that distinction amongst the lore of 151 years of Michigan athletics. And it's a reason we want to celebrate, not look at this as a negative, but celebrate his lifelong dedication to Michigan, his commitment for 33 years, and having all the great success that he has had. And the successes for him mean more as well to what they do off the field, off the ice, I should say. And pounding them about coming back to finish their degree and doing all the things. Just a great, great man, great person with a great family. And I won't say I'll miss him because I'm not. He's gonna be there with me. He's already started negotiating that that piece of it, and I say that jokingly, about all the things that I would like him to do. It's a long list, but just having him around will be so important for me and so important for us. I think Red said it well. We're looking for someone who is going to move the program forward and have that passion for Michigan, have that passion for these young men, embrace our alums, get a chance to understand what Michigan hockey has been about, looking for somebody to lead us to have success with these young men on the ice and off. It's how that'll come to be, I'll start addressing that tomorrow. My focus has been on Red, the current team, and the staff, and tomorrow we'll start the process of taking a look at it, of trying to compartmentalize this, because I did not want these young men, and Red himself didn't deserve anything to be leaked and out there, and you know, it's talking about who's the next coach before we had a chance to an opportunity to celebrate what he meant and what he means to Michigan, what he has meant to Michigan hockey.
Not particularly. Like, there's no one thing that's on a list. I don't have a laundry list in retirement, but I'll find plenty to do. I'd like to get out on the river more. I'd like to take my trailer, visit my kids more, my grandkids more. But we're going to be around Ann Arbor a lot. It's hard to leave Ann Arbor, but it'll sink in. We'll figure it out. I can find lots to do. You know, my wife is concerned about this because she knew Charlie Holt's wife, and he was the old coach from New Hampshire. And when he retired, Charlie's wife said, "Don't ever let your husband retire. Living with a retired coach is like living with a caged animal." So that'll be the test. Well, thanks everyone for coming. I don't want to drag this out, but Mike. Yeah, a lot. Al Renfrew was great for me. He ran the ticket office, and we're not going to get into that. But but I would go over the ticket office with all my problems, and Al was really good about being there as a resource. And I'll be around too. If our coaching staff need another opinion, I'll be around. I care about the program, obviously. Al Renfrew was a great guy, and I know his family and still do, and so on. And so he meant a lot to me. You know, Michigan changed my life like it does everyone that comes here. And I just need to remind our players every so often to make sure you're taking advantage of it.
Thank you.
Okay, we're good.